this for now. If you guys see someone pop on, I'll try to remember to check it every few minutes too, but
You look like you're in a baby blue mood.
yeah. All right. I know Megan's coming back. I think there's Shane. All right,
Hey.
Good deal. So my hope is to have Tom Wright or somebody come in to talk to us about profit and loss statement stuff. And so that's coming. It's not happening this week, unfortunately. But what I thought we could start doing is thinking through expenses and ROI. Who knows what ROI means?
Return on investment.
Return on investment. So Shane, what does that mean?
In short, basically what you're putting in to your business, that you're making sure what you know you're getting out of it. So,
and that you're getting something out of it, right?
Yeah.
And then of course, it becomes more and more important how much, like what that return is. One of the biggest pitfalls, I think, that newer agents fall into is this concept. And I cannot tell you how many times people said this to me when I would get those dumb sales calls trying to sell me on, like, you know, selling me leads or selling me whatever, you know, magical thing was going to suddenly help my business take off.
Mm-hmm.
And they would always say, you just need to make one sale and you've paid for this. And I think that is such an incredibly dangerous way to start thinking about expenses, because it's really about more than that. It is about money, but it's also about time. It's, you know, if you're getting a bunch of crappy leads from something, how much time are you putting into chasing after crappy leads that you're now not putting into going after your sphere or open house leads or door knocking or the places that we know you can get business from without spending a penny? So one of my favorite stories, when I was brand new licensed, this was 7 years ago, I got a call from somebody that told me for $1,200, and honestly, it was probably $1,200 a month. But I was so new that I was just like, you know, they were like, for $1,200, we'll send you these leads. And you just need one closing a month, and you have more than paid for this expense. And I was like, ooh, okay, one closing a month. I mean, that sounds amazing. And so I didn't agree. I didn't sign up for it, thank goodness. I had the wherewithal to say, okay, well, just getting started. I don't have $1,200 right now, so let me think about it. So then I go to my husband and I was like, this is this opportunity that I have, and I'm just thinking about it, and it's gonna cost $1,200 a month. And my husband was like, oh. And he's like, okay, how many transactions have you had so far? And at the time, I think, if I'm remembering this correctly, I had 3 closings. And he's like, where did those, this is my husband who does not do real estate, is not in sales at all. He was like, where did those closings come from? And I said, well, one was Molly, my sister. One was an open house lead. And one was somebody that I had gone to college with and was Facebook friends with, and she was moving to Minnesota from Texas, and had just reached out and been like, hey, I think I saw something about you getting your real estate license. Can you help us find a house in Minnesota? So those were the 3 that I had at that point in my career. How much do you think I spent on those leads? $0. And that's what my husband pointed out to me, was that you've gotten business without spending a penny. 2 hours of your time on an open house was what I had spent for that business. And that comment completely changed the way that I saw how I wanted to grow my business. Now, for a long time, I was able to say, I don't buy leads. I can't say that anymore. I have a team to support, so we do buy some leads. But for a really long time, like 5.5 to 6 years, I mean, we just started buying leads within the last year or so, other than maybe doing some Facebook ads, but like legit putting large amounts of money to buying leads is a fairly new thing for me. And my point is, you don't have to be spending money to get business. or I should say, you don't have to be spending money on leads to get business. So then it's, if you have a business, you're gonna be spending money, that's the way it goes. Where are you putting that money and what are you getting in return? And how much of it is leverage, like saving on your time? I think it's really easy, especially early in our real estate careers, to get caught up on how much things cost. What I also want you to be thinking about as we talk today is, what is your time worth? Because that plays into an expense as well. It's not just like, I'm gonna spend this and I'm gonna get this much business. It's, I'm gonna spend this, and because I'm spending that money, I now have more time for calls, door knocking, open houses, whatever it might be. Does that make sense? Okay. So the first thing I want to do, I want to brainstorm, and I kind of said in my Facebook post, like, bring a list. If you want to write it down, great. If you just want it in your head, great. I'm not going to make you guys get up and share your expenses at this point, ever probably, but I don't know if we bring Tom in, like, or when we bring Tom in, how much he's going to have you share. But let's, can you see? Is that better? You guys see over there? Okay. I want to brainstorm a list of where, let's start with this. Where do you get your business from? Sphere. Probably should be number one for most, if not all of us.
I get leads from Facebook ads that I'm running on listings. And then I do it through Keller Williams because there's better return on those, lower cost, better return.
Have you converted quite a few of those?
Yeah, well, a lot of them are long-term nurture, but the difference is, before I came to Keller Williams, I had taken classes, I knew how to run Facebook ads as cheaply as possible because I could do it. But I got fake leads, right? Like, the majority of them were like fake for all kinds of different reasons. Keller Williams was the first one where I could say half of them were real people.
Yeah, that's
half
good.
are gonna be fake, and then they're long-term nurture.
Because when I've done Facebook leads, I'm so frustrated with the half that are fake, but.
And I was thrilled to
that,
say,
yeah, like,
even if you had 25% that were real, legitimate real, that
like,
you
that
could
was
turn
good.
into something, that I would have been thrilled with that, but I'm like, hey,
No,
at
it's a
least
good
half are
perspective,
real, yeah.
Because
it is
feels
really
like
good
a lot.
perspective.
And they
garbage,
capture the information for you, and the other outside of this company don't do a good job because they don't have an agreement with Facebook.
Right.
That's exactly why, because Keller Williams wants that as.
So I look at it,
tool.
I've experimented, I will say, with leads outside of listings, not so successful. But if you tie it into listings, it's very successful.
Yeah.
There are.
Rather than just sold. Sorry,
Oh, well, yeah, I just meant, like, I have other creative ideas, right?
Sure,
and I experiment, but I get like really bad results.
One ad, if you want to, maybe you've tried it and not gotten good results, but one that we tried that was not listing related, so we would run this if we didn't have a listing at the time, was the app, marketing the app, the KW app. Now, the app has changed. I don't use Command anymore, so like whenever Jason is here and talking about all that stuff, I can't speak to it necessarily, but that is one where we got a ton of.
And what's a KW app? Because we have my own search engine and all that for our own website.
Okay.
So is that
Through
like
Command?
Similar? What?
Through Command? Does your website through
No,
Command?
this is outside of it.
Okay, yeah, so then.
Through Market Leader, actually.
Yeah, so then I don't know how that would work, but I know the Command has the consumer-facing app, and we would market that and get it when we used Command.
Interesting.
And that was the only other one. Otherwise, I think you're right, I agree. Without a listing to market. You can always ask the agents in the office about marketing their listings, but that's gonna get you the best, or at least the most. Where else? I know you get business beyond Sphere and Facebook ads.
I mean,
Golden letters.
open house and expired.
And what'd you say?
Expired. I don't tap into them much anymore, but I mean, I have gotten some.
Okay, great. Anything else you can think of?
It's both, which I haven't got anything from them, but I know there's a lot.
the opportunities are out there.
Yes.
Okay,
Referrals, which is kind of sphere.
it's true, yep. Refer to ours.
Yeah.
Yes.
So referrals could be clients, right? From clients, vendors, right?
Mhm.
You guys get any from your lenders?
Working on
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Working on
Yes,
it.
yes.
Who said yeah over here?
I've gotten a couple, like, I feel like it took him a while to give me some, but once I feel like he realized how much business I gave him,
Yeah.
he's given me a couple. I haven't closed on any of them yet, but one that I think will be a really good one.
I'm trying to pull the Carly Duckworth.
What's
What is that?
I just remember she said it one time. She said when she hunts for a new lender, she says, if you give me the first lead, I will give you a bunch of leads.
That's good.
So I've tried it. It hasn't worked yet.
Here's
But
one thing that I tried that did help, and this was after I had established relationships with not just my lender, but like other, vendors that I do regular business with. And I'm not consistent about this, but I have reached out. Usually I'll do it kind of at the end or the beginning of the year. And, like the Happy New Year, and we really enjoyed working together in 2021, and we're looking forward to, continuing that relationship in 2022. Hey, it's really important to me that I grow in this next year, and I have sent you a lot of business. I don't know how specific you want to get, if it's a lender or somebody and you want to say, I have sent you 20 buyers, or landscaping company guy, I have sent you 17 of my past clients. It would mean a lot to me if you would send me, can you commit to sending me 5 pieces of business this year? And it worked. We did start getting, not necessarily 5, but people were like, you know what? Thank you. You were right. You have been a huge support to me, and I would love to help you grow your business. And then we get a little bit that trickles in. What I'm learning is you have to ask.
Yeah.
And when you do, people, they don't want to lose your business. And they know that it's not just your business, but like your clients and their friends and family, and it grows from there. So they want to keep you happy, but it's really not on their radar. It's not like they're not sending Megan business. But when you ask, all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I do want to make sure she's happy.
So to build on that, just give you guys an idea, for vendors in the business world, because I'm from the business world. In the business world, they're big on, if you're in sales and stuff like that, you join the commerces, and then they form these little teams, one person from each industry, right, in those.
Like a BNI.
Yeah, that. But I just thought, I don't have to depend on that. I come in contact with these different vendors, but I'll use the same contact. So I have this rule that I'll have one vendor from each field, and then I go, can we form a mastermind group? And they're like, what's that? And I go, when I say, and it's just me and them individually, not a big group.
Yeah.
But I just go, so we'll meet, you tell me how often feels comfortable to you, 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, quarterly, whatever. And they always tell me 1 month, like they say. And I go, so the goal of this time that we're together is I am going to be creative and think of how I can grow your business. I'm going to come here with ideas to this meeting. And then I'm hoping, all I'm asking from you is you come to me, we're going to be masterminds of how you can help me grow my business. And then we'll each help pass out each other's business cards and this and that. And I have like 100% enthusiasm with that. And it's building off of what you're talking about, and then past, Chamber of Commerce idea, but it like works. And I'm usually surprised, because I would probably like to meet with them quarterly, but they're like monthly. And so I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I have had a couple of different attempts at like networking groups like that. And for me, it's one of them I was just a part of, and it sort of fell apart. And the other one, a friend of mine and I were actually running. And I guess the only reason that one fell apart is the pandemic. We stopped meeting in person, and then it just got really
Well,
hard.
and if you do it one-on-one versus get everyone together as a group, it's easier. And then
so
if
you're just meeting one on.
But in my mind, I have one from each industry. So it's a way, and you're kind of creating a new sphere too, right?
Yeah.
And helping each other. And then if one falls off for like a reason you say, you just replace that one person with a different person in that field. Yeah.
Well, and you know, you can be, it really depends on your time and what you're willing and able to do, but like one-on-one like that, you're really cementing a relationship. Getting involved in Chamber of Commerce, getting involved in Rotary, getting involved in a you know, charitable organization. There are lots of ways to kind of get out there and market yourself. Right.
I have a question, because I've actually been wanting to get into a networking group, but I don't know how. Like, where do you go to find a network group?
My suggestion, I just gotta run real quick and got a 2:30 call, I'll be back,
Sure,
but
okay.
start your own. Don't pay,
Agreed.
don't pay for one.
And that's why I thought, I'm not doing that, I'm not gonna pay for it, and it doesn't, they just always have different agendas, right, that you don't even need, but yeah, just do like, kind of like what I was doing, you start your own, you identify people and just ask them, and you'd be shocked at how excited they are that someone wants to help them grow their business.
B&I can be expensive, but then if you start it, you are the only realtor in that group. You don't invite other realtors in the group.
Yeah.
So then, but the big thing is, I think you take what she does, but then you also have in that group, you have casual conversation. Don't make it all about business.
Yeah.
So have the combination, like you could do the break off one-on-ones and then casual, anyways.
When we started ours, and I really need to kind of, now that we're sort of, people are getting a little more comfortable with back in person and all of that, I should reach back out and see if people are interested. But we did not charge anything. And I think that there is the good and the bad with that, because the good is that you get potentially more people that are interested. The bad is because they're not paying for it, they might not show up, they might not take it quite as seriously. So I think you want to be mindful if you do create your own, like who you're inviting. We really focused on like women-owned businesses. And so when we did it, I had a woman who owned like her own sort of salon. Someone who owns a boutique in Egan. And we did the same thing where it was one of each type of business. So I was the realtor, there were going to be no other realtors. The friend that I did this with has her own small marketing firm. So she was the marketing firm. And the reason the two of us teamed up to start this is I get a lot of marketing ideas from her. And as we were talking and sharing ideas, and she works with small businesses, we were kind of like, we learned so much from each other. Like, what if we brought in other people, and then not only can they learn from her and from what has worked for me, but we get to learn from them too. So for a while it was really successful. We didn't make it a BNI, like you can do that, and then there are the dues, and it can be pretty expensive. Have you ever been in BNI?
Yeah, I just,
were you?
I just, like I said, what I've chosen to do now,
I've never done it. I've always heard about it. I know that it can get a little pricey, and my understanding is if you're in a BNI group,
It's BNI.
It's very regimented.
what does it stand for? I don't know.
I forget what it stands for, but it's very regimented, like you
And they're all
cannot
over.
miss,
And if you only, and you have to replace if you're gonna be gone, you have to replace yourself with someone, I think. And you're committed to using for whatever your needs are within that group, you're committed to using the people in that group. Is that true? That's what I was told. And that scared me, because I was like, of course, it'd be great if everyone had to use me, like, right? But what if there's someone in that group that you don't jive with, and you're not interested in working with, and now you're committed to doing that? And actually that happened with a listing I had last year. Known this guy for many years, and he's always said he would use me, and then we would get together for coffee every once in a while. And when, this was a few years ago, he was like, I feel really bad, but I have to tell you, I joined this BNI group. He's a financial advisor. So I joined this BNI group, and there's a realtor in there. And now, if we do decide to sell, I have to use her. And I was like, well, that sucks. But we continue to get together every once in a while. We're friends, and we're kind of growing our businesses at the same time. And so then, a year or so later, he was like, well, we're getting closer to being ready to sell, but I just really don't want to use this woman. I don't get a lot, I don't like her. I don't like the way she runs her bit, Well, I was like, I'm not getting in that mess. And then he ended up leaving the B&I group, not just to use me, but he left that, and then within several months, they listed and they did use me. But I kept thinking, like, if you don't like the people in that group, just feel like that can get to be a little bit of a sticky.
And you didn't get
Yeah.
to choose them, usually the association or the group chooses who's in your group.
Yeah.
If you do it on your own, you're handpicking the people you wanna work with, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's a topic we could have in the future too, on like, how do you create something like that? And I think it's important that you have sort of a common, you don't necessarily just want it to be random. I think that you want to have something, a focus, like we did women-owned businesses. Maybe you want it to be that it's all, small local businesses in Lakeville or whatever it is. But I don't think to just pull random people together. You want to have some kind of focus and maybe criteria, just to make sure you're bringing in the right people.
Well, and mine is just, I
That's
choose anyone
different.
from this industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like someone
Well, and
that,
if you're doing
yeah.
one-on-one, that's a little bit different than creating a group that's gonna
Yeah.
get together, if that's what you're thinking, because those people all need to get along. For
Yeah.
you, it's like, you just need to get along with each of them.
and it's
Like,
not stressful. I didn't like the regimented stress that goes
Yeah.
with those groups.
Yeah.
And
That's why I've always
Well,
avoided
there's,
that.
such an expectation, so it's not like you're not gonna have an expectation, but your expectation is underlying, it's not the focus. I think if you go in with the focus of, I gotta get a lead for them and them, I mean, I've been hounding
Well,
my
that's
best
the other
friend
thing, yeah.
forever. He's a painter, phenomenal painter, I painted with him, I can't get one dang lead from him, I keep giving him a hard time. But he's always saying like, well, they're always painting because they already have a realtor and they get ready to sell, but I'm like, do you have a personal life?
I was gonna say, does it have like friends
So-
and family?
Sorry, this is that call. Anyways, I like the networking stuff a lot, so I can talk a lot.
Okay, we can revisit this for sure, because I think this is a great way to grow your sphere. It's a great way to get out there in a professional sense. All right, anything else you can think of that you've gotten business from, or you've heard people have gotten business from?
Just to add to referrals, like agent referrals.
Yeah, yep, great. I'm gonna write down. But people get business from it.
Oh, the new lead.
Yeah, Op City or whatever that is.
Yeah,
How can I forget something?
I had to go on a.
You think
show.
door knocking works?
Yeah.
I mean,
To
yes,
get,
it's
I mean,
proven that it
people
works.
get, it
Yeah.
really does work.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you that I have gotten a ton of business from door knocking, but I know, like, do you guys know who Nate Pence is? Yeah, he's an agent who has a team up, I think they're out of Maple Grove. He got licensed right around the time that I got licensed, I think, and I've met him, but I don't know him. He built his business door knocking. He used to go out and door knock essentially from 9 in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, like 5 days a week. And that's how he built his business. And I know, I saw him post just recently that they closed 17 in April. So like, he built a big business. Yeah.
What's that Op City?
So Op City, I believe is it through Realtor.com? Like you're
Yes.
doing it, yeah,
It's
it's through Realtor.com. It's their version of the Zillow leads.
There is Jason's having a class coming up with more info, but I think if you're in PC, you can't join.
No,
You can't
not
join
yet.
the leads yet, but you can go to the informational session.
Because doesn't that they work with a brokerage first, don't they? Like you have to be under a brokerage approval and then you can get leads from them.
And we are.
Yeah.
Like our office is.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, I think this is a pretty good list. If anything else pops into your head, let me know. Now, so this is where we get our business. And then, what are you currently spending money on? Okay, but I want to break it down, more than just marketing.
Sensations.
Postcards, right?
flyers or open house flyers.
Is flyer IER?
I swear I've seen an I and Y.
No, oh,
I do it with a Y, but I see it both ways.
I never thought of that.
If it's wrong, it's on you, Megan.
That's fine. Just like our MLS.
Sure.
Sees our brokerage monthly. We can't really do much about those, but.
I pay for a website.
Okay.
I pay for people to write articles that are posted automatically.
Okay.
I mean, they do it for a lot of people, and then a
Right.
magazine. Like, for the 36 Touch programs, the different things we do for those.
That's why when Toddy said marketing, I said, let's break it down.
Yeah.
Because I would say my 36 touch is marketing,
Yeah.
but does all of it land the same way? No.
No.
And does all of it bring the same amount of business? No.
We pay for signs in the arts, photography,
TC and
yes. That's a picture where all my money is flying out the window.
No, no, no. But then even
And
more is
hopefully we're
coming
putting it
back
back
in
in.
if you've done it right. If you've hired a Toddy, and way more is coming back. Client events?
and
Oh, that's one I have.
Software, there's various software you
Sure.
pay for. Like yearly, you have yearly fees associated with it.
running ads.
Yep.
I just had one in my head that,
CE.
Yeah.
Education.
Would you count brokerage fees?
Yep.
Oh, that's there, okay.
yeah, I mean, that's an expense, absolutely. Office, if you have an office, I guess you could count that in the brokerage fees, but not everybody is paying for an office.
Do you count insurance under that,
You
under
know,
brokerage fees?
yeah.
Okay.
Gas.
Oh, that's actually good, yeah.
Truth. Even like, not to go off on too big of a tangent, but just even all car expenses. Like, Megan,
Yeah.
how often do you get new tires?
Okay, so,
Were we talking about this recently?
no,
Okay.
I don't think so, but I lease my car, like I've leased for a while, I like doing that because I like not having big expenses
Sure.
typically. Well, the lease that I have right now, it had, I don't remember how many miles on it because it was like one of their service cars, so it had some miles on it, whatever, I had to get new tires on it, and that's one thing I like not having to do with a lease, but with this one I had to. So even like over the 3-year lease period, I had to get tires once, but
Yeah,
They are.
So I was just talking about this with somebody, I don't remember who it was, but I had my car in for an oil change recently and they were like, your tires are bald. And I'm like, well, that's BS, I just got new tires. And we went back and looked, it had been not quite 2 years. And he was 100% correct. My tires were totally, like how I drove last winter is terrifying. And I was talking, I'm like, that just seems nuts. And so I was talking to somebody about it here recently. And Stacy, I asked her how often, Stacy's my admin, how often she needs to get new tires. And she was like every 5 years, maybe.
She's
Are
not doing
kidding me?
showings,
Yeah.
yeah.
But when you I filled up my gas tank on, so speaking of gas, I filled up my gas tank, what is it, Tuesday? So I think Saturday. And I need to get gas again and it's Wednesday, and gas is unbelievable right now.
Like
But-
double.
Yeah, so I think when you're a realtor and driving around like we do, it is just harder on our vehicles. I've never leased. we always buy, I have a cousin that owns a car dealership, so he always gives us a really good deal. But I have heard a lot of realtors lease.
Yeah, and I am worried that my miles are gonna be over. I'm like,
What happens? Do you know?
Whenever, yeah, you
just
have
get
to
charged.
pay like per mile, but if you buy more miles before the lease is up, then it's cheaper and whatever.
So you really sort of have to have a pretty decent idea.
Yeah, and I feel like I didn't have a good idea, like at the time I got this car, because my lease is up this October, so I'm just like nervous, and then I have to take into account the miles that were already on it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more confusing, but I don't know, again, I just don't like having to do all that other maintenance, but if I'm driving that much more, then things like tires and whatever do come into play.
Yeah.
I also like having to do a car, like,
Yeah, I do too.
yeah,
But, and mine is, I got mine 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I can't remember. And I already am like itching for a new one, but
There's none.
there is none, yeah,
No,
exactly.
there's
And the
nothing
ones that are
beautiful.
there are ridiculously expensive because, yeah, supply and demand. Okay, anything else you can think of that you're spending money on for your business? You said photographer. Oh, no, I did that.
Yeah.
There's some, so this made me think of something. Oh, oh, I can't remember what it was.
I'm blanking on the word. But we give to an organization.
Oh, like charitable donation?
Yeah.
I'm ready. Yep.
Oh, closing gifts.
That was it. Thank you. That was it. When you said photos, I was like thinking through our listing expenses and closing gifts. Now, the reason I didn't sit in on Chad's class is we pay to have all of our listings measured. So for me, that would be another.
Oh, can you tell us who
expense.
that is? Because you didn't have a name, or you can't say.
Oh, we were using a guy named Bill.
That's the name you gave me, but I ended up not using it, because
Yeah.
available when I needed it.
Yeah,
Do you have someone new now?
Let me check from Kelly.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
Zoe.
Yeah.
That's what I used.
She's great. So, we can get her.
Oh,
contact info
thank you.
too. I mean, obviously, you can do it yourself, and that's what Chad's class is about, and again, saving you that money. For me, again, this is what I was talking about with time and, expense, but for me, it's worth it to pay Zoe or Jamie, as someone that she works with, like $150 to just go do it, so that I don't have to.
Well, even he said though, even with the class, there are times when it gets complicated and you just can't get access to information, and so you have to still do it sometimes.
Up here with the magazine. We do some kind of monthly or quarterly newsletter. So as we're talking, if you think of other things, just shout them out. Don't worry about interrupting me, because I think this is a pretty comprehensive list, but there's more, I'm positive, out there. I just want to share a little bit about what we've been doing lately. And then if you're comfortable and you want to share what you've been doing as far as expenses, or what you're thinking about doing, or maybe you have questions, or this conversation is getting you thinking a little bit. So there's, let's see, this would be 36 touch. This would be 36 touch. This would be 36 touch. What else?
I have software, like I do HomeBot that does monthly home CMAs. That's part of our 36 touch.
So technically, if you are doing that, that'd be like we do that through our website, through our Rivety website. And you can do that's a neighborhood nurture essentially through Command.
Mhm.
So we can clump 36 touch, not together, but like there's some of this stuff that's a part of 36 touch. And one of the things that we did earlier this year, Stacy and I sat down and we kind of created essentially this list for our team. and really thought through where is the money going and where are we getting our business from. So all of these things that are starred, if that's 36 touch, that's your sphere. Hopefully you're sending that, or you're touching your sphere with these things, whether it's, you know, to whatever extent that looks like for you. But if you, do you have a 36 touch, Jenny? Okay.
A little bit.
I teach a class on it,
Okay.
and definitely come to it, because we'll break this down a little bit more than I'm going to right now, but that is a huge piece of staying in front of your sphere. And there are things that you can do that are free or less expensive, and then there are things like the postcards that start to get a little bit more pricey, but I promise you, like, this is,
postcards.
okay, good. And this will pay off. If it's consistent, it'll pay off. So we'll come to that class, we'll talk more about that. But what we did is we broke down our 36 touch, and we really started to think about what was worth it, what we could point to business coming from. And it's hard with a 36 touch in your sphere, because they're not getting like one postcard and being like, this is it, this is what convinced me to sell my house with you. It's the consistency of it, right? But what I had done is I had taken my farm, I actually have 2 farms, and I'd essentially plumped them in with the postcards, with the newsletter that we sent out, did a couple of events in those neighborhoods as well. And I mean, I'm gonna be just super vulnerable and honest, we haven't gotten anything in my one farm. My other farm, I actually do a fair amount of business in, but the neighborhood that I currently live in, since I've moved there 4 years ago, I have had 1 listing, and it was a friend of mine. Like, didn't get it from farming, I got it because he's my friend. So we were like, should we be sending these postcards and these newsletters, spending money on events if we're not getting that return? So we removed them from everything a couple of months ago. And I mean, not sending these postcards, that neighborhood is over 500 houses. That was a pretty decent savings to me. We also, after talking, decided to completely do away with the newsletter altogether. And we're gonna take that content and put it into the blog on our website, which we can then share on social media. That one, I'm curious just to see if we lose any impact without having this land in mailboxes, but our spheres are still getting the postcards. And then we have several client events that we do throughout the year, and we're not changing anything about that at this point, although one of them is getting pretty expensive. And then we do mailers throughout the year too, usually like around the holidays, and then 4th of July, we send out bracelets. We're getting ready to do that one. And that's just our 36 touch group, minus any farms. So we'll continue that. But we were really kind of thinking through what are we spending this money on, and is it worth it? And after 4 years of really one piece of business, I just couldn't spend that money anymore. Honey.
2 questions. One, so we just started Sensations this year and we're sending them to a farm. Would you recommend that we give it some time, or would you recommend that?
I would recommend Kelly get out there and door knock. And if she's not gonna do it, I wouldn't spend the money. So this is the truth. Before I lived in my neighborhood and I lived in my other farm, which is my old neighborhood, I loved the neighborhood that I'm in now. It's where I wanted to live. I used to door knock in that neighborhood all the time, and I did have business in there. I had a few listings. I had people that I helped buy in there. I did way more business before I ever lived there. And then we moved 4 years ago, almost exactly 4 years ago, and moved into that neighborhood. And I was like, well, now I've got it. Like, I live here now, right? And nothing. One lady in the townhome, so I honestly don't even know if she got my postcard, because that's a different part of the neighborhood. She called us, and then this friend of mine. It's the only 2 pieces of business in 4 years. But I don't door knock. Hosted one event in the park last summer. And if you're gonna truly farm a neighborhood, postcards are not gonna do it. I think you need to be active and out door knocking, hosting events, doing whatever you can to get in front of people and create those one-on-one relationships. And I'll be honest, I'm not door knocking right now. Like, I would love to go do it, but ultimately, I don't have the time to go door knock my neighborhood, and that's fallen through the cracks. And so then I had to decide, okay, am I gonna quit paying for these postcards and the newsletters that go up, because we sent the newsletters to that farm as well, or am I gonna go door knock? Am I gonna get in front of these people? And ultimately, at least right now, that's not gonna happen. And then of course, when I have the time, it's 2 feet of snow and 3 degrees out, and I'm just super not scented to go do it then either. So those are 100% excuses, you guys, 100% excuses. The correct answer is keep doing the postcards and get my butt out there and get in front of those people. That's, as your growth coach, that's the message you should be getting. But realistically speaking, if I wasn't gonna do that, I had to make the decision to quit paying for it. Because throwing money at it wasn't bringing any business. We were just talking about postcards and farms briefly, as I was talking about, and take a look at our list and see if there are any other expenses that you can think of for our businesses.
Okay.
But we were just talking about like the paring down and just,
Yeah.
Obviously this, not changing. If you want to be a realtor, you're paying those expenses, period.
Right.
You don't have to have an office. You can save that expense. You can go to as many free CEs as possible here in the office. 100% do that.
Yeah.
But you can't not pay your fees and your dues and then continue to run your business. That's not an option. This is a side note. I actually just saw his name in front of a house the other day and I was like, oof. There was an agent here a long time ago. You guys might remember him, but I'm not gonna say his name right now. He was asked to leave. It was a really pretty difficult, awful situation, but he refused to pay his MLS fees, and so he would like do comps on Zillow. That's how he was trying to run his business.
Weird.
Yeah.
What? Do comps on Zillow?
That's how he would, that's what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
We didn't have any business.
Yeah.
But that's when so I was the PC then, I was like, if you're not paying for the MLS, how are you gonna help people? How are you gonna help people? And he was like, I'm just gonna use Zillow. I don't have to pay for Zillow. I'll tell you.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
For your newsletter, so you're not gonna send it out monthly anymore, and you're gonna put it in a blog. Are you gonna update the blog monthly, or is it just gonna be?
She tries to do it weekly. She's been doing
weekly.
it pretty much.
Okay.
Well, the other big expense saver, do you know this? We let Amy go. Did I tell you that?
You're new admin? Okay, I was gonna ask you about her, because I haven't heard anything, so I thought something.
Yeah.
What happened?
Part of it, to be honest, was this. We just weren't busy enough to truly lead her. And, well, this is lesson learned for you guys as you get like hiring admins. She was just very, very sweet. Like, I did genuinely like her, but she was painfully slow. And just couldn't quite catch on to the way our team does things. And everything took so long, and Stacy was just having to train her, double check everything, have Amy go back and fix the things that she did wrong. And so it was taking an enormous amount of time. And the whole point of hiring her was to buy Stacy more time to do blogs, to do marketing, to do that stuff. And so we just sort of made a decision last week that it just wasn't working. And so, and I was honestly like, I've been trying to cut expenses throughout some of this stuff. And I was like, well, that's like a huge yearly salary that I don't have to pay now.
So Megan, if you're still looking, she's available.
Yeah, she's available.
I think I'll pass. You said slow, I'm like, nope, that's not me. I need someone who's like super fast.
Exactly. And I don't need to spend more time talking about her because, she had been a TC for another agent at another, at a Remax agent for a long time. So she knows the documents. That's why we hired her. It was just like she could not figure out command. She was having the hardest time with command. Stacy has some systems she created. This woman she just couldn't. I think tech is not her thing. And so anyway, yeah. So that was a huge relief to me, to be honest, because I was starting to feel like if I'm paying her where I have to, and then I started to feel like I was working to pay Amy and Stacy. And that did not feel good. Yeah. So the whole blog thing was off to a slow start because Stacy just didn't have the time. But so she's gotten a couple out. Now the goal is that this will happen pretty much weekly. And then our e-newsletter goes out every other Friday.
Oh, so you're talking the physical newsletter that you guys send out quarterly?
Yes, the paper one that we did quarterly.
Okay, but,
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Which honestly, because it had gotten, our database has grown, it was like getting close to $1,000 to print and mail it. And so that's $4,000 a year if it's quarterly. Mm-hmm. And again, it's hard to say that it didn't bring any business, but at the same time, we can't point to business that it did bring in. And because they're getting these postcards every month, they're seeing our names every month anyway. So this one made me a little sad. I really did like our newsletter, and I do know there are people that looked forward to getting it and did look at it. So I'll bring this back if and when I feel ready to do that, but we just couldn't justify that.
You said no more paper, just the monthly and the blog now, right?
Well, and then the postcards.
Yep, and then
Yeah.
keeping.
But no more paper newsletter.
Postcards still like sensation stuff? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, see, I have not converted sensations to Sphere. I know Moni keeps telling me to do that, but it's just in a farm which hasn't produced anything. Because you gotta follow it up with it. I did do some door knocking, and I think I picked the coldest day of the year, but when I did it, but I think you gotta follow up with door knocking too.
You have, the thing is with farms, this is what we were talking about a little bit while you had stepped out, but you have to
you gotta
put yourself in front of people. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that we did with this is this goes to my sphere, Stacy's sphere, Kim's sphere.
Nice.
And we took out our farms.
Okay.
Just recently, just like a month or two ago. Because we were sending it to my 2 farms and to Kim's farm, and nothing from Kim's farm, nothing. I guess I might still, I should know this, but I might still send them to my 1 farm where I actually do business.
Yeah.
It was the one I live in.
Yeah.
Which seems like should be the one where I'm doing more business, but like even just last week, like for sale sign went up. This is the thing that at least like makes me a little bit happy about my neighborhood. It's not like there's another agent that has all the business. It's always someone different.
Yeah.
And so whenever a sign pops up, I'm like, come on, you hear from me every month.
Yeah.
But it's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough. Yeah. So but that's the kind of thing, like being mindful of, if you're spending this money on postcards to people that don't know you, it's not gonna have the same return as if you shifted it to your sphere. Then I guarantee you it would make a difference.
Yeah, no, I totally get it, because I think, I'm like maybe a year and a half in, so then they were saying, not just them, but I think maybe talking to Jess or whatever, like how do you get a return on a year and a half? It's almost gotta be like a while, it's like you're building a business, right, with that farm. So it's like, do you just keep doing it until 3 to 5 years and just maybe the returns start coming, but then, like you said, if you can get a quicker return, why not?
Well, I think whether you want to continue your farm or not is up to you.
Yeah.
Or maybe you shrink your farm and then you slowly grow it as you do get more business in there. But these should be going to your sphere.
No, you're 100% right. I mean, now that
I know
I
I'm
see
100% right.
Yeah.
This is what that 36 touch class is about. And I did the same thing in the beginning where I felt like this type of stuff needed to go to the people I was trying to convince to work with me.
Right.
And so I'd send it to open house leads, I'd send it to my farm, I'd send it, but not to my friends and family. And lo and behold, my friends and family weren't using me.
Yeah.
And it took this mind shift of, oh, even though they know me, even though they see on Facebook that I'm a realtor, this monthly reminder in their hand did make a difference. 2 things. It's that reminder. And it also, this type of thing, it sets you at a different tier. You're now a professional because you're sending out marketing material versus posting fun pictures on social media.
Chicken soup for the soul letters. We've been there, done that.
Do you use sensations?
I do. I mean, you've been with me since the beginning, and I was like a misfit for a little bit because I was expansion. But but yeah, it's just it's a no-brainer for me to switch. So.
And I mean, sensations. They're not the prettiest.
Yeah.
Like they're a little dated.
Monique,
they're better than they used to be.
Monique made one and it's way better than theirs.
Yeah.
I'm like, what
and
the
you know,
heck?
it's funny you said chicken soup for the soul because they've updated their look, but that is like it was that font. I swear.
Right.
That's really funny. But they're a little bit better now. They're still not great. But for me, my justification with this is they're probably throwing it away. So I don't need to spend much, I don't need to spend more money, and it doesn't matter what it looks like because they at least had to see it while they walked it to the garbage can.
Yeah.
But so don't like, there was an agent back in my PC days too who got like so hung up on the way everything looked, and she wanted everything to look perfectly, and the postcard sensations weren't pretty enough. So she was going to spend, significantly more on better looking postcards. And the reality is, any of that marketing that we do is going in the garbage. This is not being framed on walls. This is not anything people are going to keep. Maybe they'll get a recipe they like and throw it in their cupboard and stumble on it in 5 years. This does not need to be perfect. It just needs to happen. It's that getting ready to get ready mentality, and just do it. And I fought the recipe thing for a good couple of years because I thought everyone does recipes, I'm gonna do something different. And then the Sensations guy convinced me to switch to recipes, and I swear people talk to me about these dumb postcards all the time. And that they made whatever we made your
Stroganoff.
Yeah, stroganoff is the story I have.
Yeah.
For some reason, that was a very popular one. It really was. But they bring that up to me.
Because there's a chance they're gonna throw it in the junk drawer, right?
Right.
Just that chance it ends up there.
Yep.
Well, and they're gonna see your face is on it. So like when I was sending letters, my face wasn't on any of the letters. They had to read my name, Shane Korn. Maybe they read that, but your face is on it. So at the very minimum, they see your face and they're like, oh, it's this.
We started with the agents like Kim on the team. We had a team photo for a while, and then we switched it to, well, the team keeps changing, so we stopped doing team photos. But we had one that was Stacy, Kim, the three of us, I guess. And this was before Marquez had joined, but that's what we had on the postcard. And Kim was on the phone with a friend of hers. This was like a year or more ago. On the phone with a friend of hers. And the woman was getting her mail, and she's like, Kim, I just got a postcard from a bunch of realtor women. How did they get my, and Kim was like, well, is it a postcard from my team? And it was, but because she hadn't seen Kim in that photo, she just saw.
That's funny.
Yeah, so then we went for the Sensations postcard, it's the individual headshots. So Kim's people get one with Kim's photo. My sphere, it's my photo.
Yeah.
And Stacy's sphere is also my photo. But we changed that for that reason, because they might not remember Kim's, hopefully they remember her name, but seeing her face, they're 100% they're like, oh yeah, I know Kim. And then they throw it away, and then the next month they get another one, and it reminds them again that she's in real estate.
This is the third month they've gone out now, our Sensations, and the first time they went out, I got like 8 texts from my sphere that was like, oh my gosh, you sent out a recipe card.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that goes out to my sphere is a picture of Kelly and I.
Yeah, cute.
But they were like, oh, and I like that you have your photo on there and whatever. And then the second month, Kelly had someone post on Facebook, a past client of hers, a picture of it and say, if your realtor is not sending you recipe cards, you have the wrong realtor.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was just literally in 2 months.
Yeah.
The first 2 months.
It's amazing. It really is amazing. Some of you have heard the story 100 times, but he doesn't do it so much anymore. But I had a past client of mine, who was a single dad, and now his daughter is like 12 or 13, but when she was younger, whenever she was staying with him, they would make my recipe.
Oh, that's so cool.
And he would send pictures. He's not a Facebook guy, but I was like, shoot, I wish he was on social media because then he could post that. But I've had people like, post it or make it and post it, or just reach out to me. Or they see me walking my dogs, or they see me at Target or at my kid's school or wherever I am. And I swear it's all the time people come up to me and say something about the recipe cards. Or they say, you're everywhere. Like, that's the goal. Yep. That was my biggest fear in changing the brand. And I think now people, like, they've made the connection, and I feel like we did it okay. That was my biggest fear, was that we were gonna lose people because they no longer saw Teen Homes with Heart.
Another really, oh, go ahead.
No.
Mine's, oh, I'll speak quick. So, another one that I thought was pretty successful was the scratch-offs for
Yes.
Patrick's Day. Yeah, I know it's part of
Yeah,
that, but.
no, I'm just saying, that's a great example.
Yeah, I did it for the first time this year, and I had like several clients text me like, oh, I didn't win, but thanks so much, this was such a cute idea.
Yeah.
One of my clients did post it on Facebook. He said, I bought my home from my realtor in 2020, and she's still sending me these gems. Like, it was really cute. So people like stuff like that they can like do a little.
It's memorable.
Like yeah.
It's memorable, and it like starts a conversation. And then when you've got the people like that post about it, I mean, that's huge.
And he's
That
referred
is
a couple
huge.
of people to me too, and
You will find, you start off, with your sphere, and I know, like, when I was getting started, thinking about who I thought were gonna be my biggest cheerleaders, and I'll tell you, very few of those people are actually still in that inner core. But the most random people that I never would have thought of have become our biggest referral, partners, or our biggest cheerleaders, or like this one woman, I mean, I can't post anything without her sharing it. And I'm like, thanks, Amanda. I mean, it's lovely, but she's a female business owner, and she is super on board with helping, promote me and other business owners as well. What were you gonna say?
Well, I thought of another thing, kind of back to the expenses part. One thing that we started last year, so for client events, we did a Mother's Day and a Father's Day. And I'll just be honest, the Mother's Day one last year was like my first major event, and it was a complete flop. Like, it was horrible. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get fired. And I didn't. But it was just too in-depth and too many steps, and people don't want to do work. And so anyway, with the Father's Day one, we kind of did like a reverse fold, but we did it with like a Facebook ad and a Google link.
Okay.
And basically what we did is we ran an ad and said, you have until this day to get it in. And we had, last year for the Father's Day, I think we only had 30 people enter. And this year for Mother's Day, we had 75.
Wow.
And we just like ran an ad, and we like blasted out to our sphere first, and gave them like 2 extra days or something. And then did it through Facebook, and we got like 50 leads from Facebook, I think.
And then is it a drawing, or did I miss that? Okay.
And then it's a drawing, and then we have all of those people's information, because we say we're going to, and then the other thing that we did, if they didn't put or we didn't make address required in the Google form, but we did send them a gift card, and we said that we would send them a physical gift card so that we have to have their address.
Yes. Great.
So then we have phone number, email, and address for all people. So.
Just for the winners, you didn't like send everybody a gift card?
No, just for the
okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But if you don't know if you're gonna win or not, and then
Yeah.
you're incented to put down
Yeah.
accurate information. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. That's great.
Okay.
But I just have a question. What did you give away?
This year we gave away a Mother's Day basket, so it was just like fun stuff. It was a cute blanket, some candles, wine, and then a $40 gift card to Paul's Market.
And do you deliver that basket?
They come to pick it up. It says like in the ad that we run and in the Google form, like you have to be able to pick this up, or we can deliver it if you're within whatever.
A certain radius.
Yeah, but and then last year for Father's Day, we did a grilling basket, and that went over really well too. and gave away like one of those electric, thermometers for
Oh, yeah.
paint and stuff, so.
Okay, I'm gonna do one thing quick. We're over time, so if you have to go, go. There's not much expense to Golden Letters. What would you say?
Postage
Yeah,
is
stamps
the biggest.
expensive.
So I just wanted to kind of point out, ooh, did you get a
No, I did.
city?
I didn't get that one, what's going on?
We'll see. No longer available, that's good.
I just wanted to kind of point out quick that there's plenty on here that cost you little to nothing. Golden Letters, postage, paper, printing.
Mhm.
In the grand scheme of things, pretty low expense. Time or money to pay someone to address them. But still pretty low expense. Maybe we'll give this like a little dollars. But, reaching out to your sphere, picking up and calling your sphere, doing, staying in front of them that way or sending emails, easy and free. Open houses are free. All of this is free unless you join like a group like BNI or something where you have an expense. And then Zillow and OpCity. OpCity, you guys can speak to way better than me. The expense there is that you're paying, at least
The
you're
splits.
paying the referral fee to the market center. So that's that cost. You're not really paying for the leads though, right?
No,
You're just
no.
paying that split.
We split it a little bit, it goes, so Rise gets their portion.
Right.
Then,
The market
then the
center gets
MC
their
and then
portion.
us,
Yep.
yeah.
But you don't pay up front.
No, nothing
That's
upfront.
paid at closing.
Yep,
Zillow, I will say, there are agents in our office that buy Zillow leads, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you this is not from my experience, but from what I have heard from many, many agents. You can get business from Zillow, but in order to get decent leads, you need to spend an enormous amount of money. I remember Jason Hurecamp taught a class once, and he was talking about leads and following up with leads, and his comment on Zillow was, if you have $10,000 to throw out the window every month, you might make it with Zillow leads. I don't know if it's really $10,000 a month, but it's thousands of dollars a month. It's not like a Facebook ad where you can do $50 and get 25 to 30 leads. You're spending enormous amounts of money, and you're still not sure that they're
well, and you have to be
accurate.
available, right? Cause
Yep.
like, we're learning, I've never done anything
Yeah.
like this before, but you have to be like, bing, like, you have to be on it, you have to build your score.
Yeah.
There's algorithms.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of strategy and work and effort, right?
Yes, yeah, so my score's gone down.
Megan?
Ever since I turned off the lead.